May I now request our esteemed guest of honor, Mr. R.S. Sharma, Secretary, Department of Electronics and IT, DeitY, Government of India, to address the gathering. Sir.
Good morning, friends, my colleagues on the dais, ladies and gentlemen. It's indeed very interesting that INFOCOM, as was said by Mr. Purkastha, was started in 2002. And I have been participating in INFOCOM since 2003 onwards. So while it is their 13th edition, this should be my 12th edition of participation in INFOCOM. Very interesting. I was working in Jharkhand and then I used to go to Calcutta, then they had a Ranchi edition and now they have Delhi edition. So first of all, let me congratulate them for really sustaining this movement, because in today's world, all these kinds of conferences come and go. But you have established a name and now the reputation has built upon in such a manner that there are various, very powerful and very fruitful discussions taking place. Well, I have really not much time, in the sense that I have to go to for some meetings, so therefore I'll be very brief. I want to share with you the Digital India vision of the Honorable Prime Minister. As you know, on 1st of July, this program was launched in Delhi and throughout the country. After 1st of July, we had a Digital India Week, which concluded on 7th of July. And we had programs in Delhi on 1st of July in state capitals, in districts, in blocks, in panchayats and villages. So there have been a whole range of programs. There have been a large number of government services delivered and new services have been launched. And the whole effort has been to really, kickstart the entire Digital India vision. Now, as you know, Digital India has got three broad components. And I think that makes it distinct from the erstwhile efforts on various e-governance programs. NEGP was one of them, and there were many other efforts. While these efforts build a great foundation, Digital India weaves these programs into a very coherent vision and provides a comprehensive strategy and future roadmap for the country to go. So there are three broad areas. One is creation of digital infrastructure as a utility to people. And when we talk of digital infrastructure, what we mean is A, broadband connectivity to every village in this country, and B, some other type of soft digital infrastructures, which means you must have heard in the new budget, they called it JAM, Janadhan, Aadhaar and Mobile. Now, Janadhan provides financial inclusion to everybody. Aadhaar provides digital identity, which is unique, online and authenticable. And mobiles actually provide a very powerful tool in the hands of everybody, by which he can not only communicate, he can also transact his digital transactions he can do. So this is also a part of the digital infrastructure. Besides, we have now 100,000 common service points, common service centers, which are being increased to 250,000, which means every panchayat in the country will have one common service center. The post offices in the villages, which are about 150,000, they are also being converted into common service centers. So the whole idea is that every citizen must have services delivered to him or accessible to him in a locality, at his own locality, in a very affordable manner. So that's the first part of the digital infrastructure. Second is, we want to now re-engineer all our software systems so that they become basically software as service. They are re-engineered, they become multi-tenants, they become easy to operate, and that's the whole effort in the software area. And we have undertaken the re-engineering of all the mission mode projects which were started in NEGP. We are also bringing out new policies, and in the last 1 year we have had a number of policies which address this issue of what kind of software we should have. So we have a policy on open standards, which means that all software must conform to an open standard. We have policy on open APIs, which means the software must be able to talk to each other in a standard protocol, in a standard manner. We have open source policy, which means that when you build a solution, you must evaluate all options, including the open source. And if you find that open source has a less total cost of ownership, you must go for open source. So that's another part. We have also started a platform of open source collaborative development. So we have a new policy on cyber security. So there are a whole slew of policies which have been, announced and being implemented in the last 1 year, with a vision that software and systems must become interoperable, transparent, cost-effective, open source, open APIs, and they must satisfy the best, sort of practices in design and development of software. So that's the second part. Third part is we have now started a very massive program of digital literacy, which means that every citizen, at least one person in every family, must be digitally literate. And therefore, the National Digital Literacy Mission Program, which is being operated by the Common Service Centers and other partners, which essentially will ensure that a basic digital literacy is available to everybody, because without the citizens' empowerment, without the digital empowerment of people, they will not be able to access these softwares and access this infrastructure on which these softwares ride. So essentially, these are the three broad areas. There are a number of projects and number of things which are being done. And now the Honorable Prime Minister's launch of this program on 1st of July has really brought Digital India at the center of the entire governance conversation. So I think that's very, very important. And from there we are going ahead. I am sure these deliberations in the conference for the next 2 days, today and tomorrow, will really focus on the components and the pillars of Digital India and how together we should make India develop into a digitally empowered society and a knowledge economy. Thank you very much for inviting me.